It's time to do a little story time. It's the story of Vegas and how I got sick. If you guys don't know, I didn't stream a few days ago because I said I was sick. Now, normally when I say I'm sick, I'm lying to you guys and I'm watching anime. I actually haven't been sick in a couple years until this past week. I went to Las Vegas for New Year's with all of my roommates and my friends. It was a great time. I lost $1,400. Then it wasn't such a great time. And then I went up $1,000 and then I lost $1,000. So all in all, it was about even on the trip. But the really interesting part about that wasn't the gambling. It wasn't Cirque du Soleil and it wasn't the views. The most interesting part of the trip was eating at Guy Savoy's 2 Michelin star restaurant. Now, I had got reservations at this restaurant for 2 to go with Cutie Cinderella. My friend, Cutie Cinderella, because, I thought we'd have a nice time, eat a casual dinner together. A very casual, just casual. You know how casual dinners are. You guys get it. So we arrive promptly on time, and the doors are gigantic, stressfully large. And there's nobody there to open them for you. You have to open it yourself. It's intimidating in a way. So I opened this Game of Thrones door. Actually, if you've ever played Kingdom Hearts 1, the opening scene of that is Donald Duck trying to walk to Mickey's castle, Mickey's throne, to talk to Mickey. And there's a giant door. It was basically that door. And it's not because I was short. Cutie also said it was a big door. Anyway, we sit down. And already I'm a little on edge. I'm a little thrown off because I don't go to fancy restaurants. The fanciest restaurant I've gone to before this is like Olive Garden. I wouldn't wear anything really nice, but maybe I wouldn't wear a shirt that says "Come and Me," just out of respect for the other patrons. But we dressed up nice for this restaurant. I was looking really good. I was wearing my turtleneck, a pea coat, some nice black pants, some new shoes I got, some John Fluvogs. And we get there, and then we sit. Right off the bat, we get a menu. And I see some big numbers, but I can't even think about what's on the menu because the first guy appears. There's a lot of guys in this story. Think of them as like characters in Beauty and the Beast. There's like Lumiere, who does lights, and the clock guy who does time, and the teapot, and the other characters that they didn't give a shit about who did most of the work. That was like this restaurant. It wasn't one server who did everything. It was like one guy, one job for the whole restaurant. So the first guy to come was the butter guy. Not the butter and bread guy. He was just the butter guy. All he did was give people butter, which is crazy because butter's not that important in my mind. Butter is like something you put on bread, but the bread's like the key, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the breadsticks at Olive Garden. It's not like the butter they put on the breadsticks. But in this restaurant, the butter hit different. It was the butter guy. But he didn't just come out with those packets of butter that you get at a diner. He came with the mound of butter. It was probably the size, if I had to become, it was this. It was this big, and it was under a glass container, like the rose from Beauty and the Beast. And he would lift it up, and he would go, and he had a French accent. Il is the butter. And then I didn't know what else. I was like, wow. And then the bread guy. And the bread guy has like every bread a man could want, and then some. He has like bacon bits bread. He's got brioche. He's got French baguette. He's got multigrain, whole wheat. I don't think he had white bread though. Yeah, he didn't have like that white bread that you find in grocery stores. Kind of a scam now that I think about it. But he had like pretty much every other bread. So you got the butter guy who comes up, then you got the bread guy who comes up. Now, at this moment, you might expect, okay, like, did you order now? We're getting there. First, you had to deal with the wine guy. And this guy, he kind of looked like that guy from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe who was like half goat. He had like this weird beard that made me think he was some religion. And he came in, and he didn't come in being like, do you want some wine? But he came in with like 7 bottles of champagne and said, which one do you want? And I was like, ooh, champagne. Okay. I mean, that made me feel a little fancy. I kind of thought it was like an airplane when you're in first class where they just give you champagne, easy peasy. Turns out you have to pay for it. I didn't know that at the time. I was just kind of like, champagne seems nice. So I just picked one. I just said, cutie, pick one for me. And she picked one and I got champagne. So I have the butter guide down, the bread guide down, and then the wine guide down. And then finally I look down at the menu and I gaze upon the options. $100 fish, $200 steak. But the menu's 2 pages. And the right side has this entire section called New Year's meal. And it's New Year's Day. So I'm like, well, this only comes like once a year. This has to be pretty special. And I'm not kidding you, 13 courses. There are 13 courses in this meal. The waiter comes over and I'm like, this? And he's like, yes. What time do you have to leave? Now, it was 7 p.m. when we arrived. We had a show at 9:30, a very casual show that friends would go to, Cirque du Soleil. Very casual. You guys know how friends watch Cirque du Soleil together. At 9:30, 2.5 hours later, and the guy said, ooh, it's going to be a little tight. 2.5 hours is going to be a little tight for the meal? Are you out of your mind? Are we cooking them live? Is this hibachi? Hibachi's quicker, and they cook it in front of you. He's like, we can make it happen in 2 hours. I'm like, okay, all right. I look down, and I see the price, and it hurts to say a bit, and I hope you don't judge me, but it was $550. I was debating doing it. But I have one motto that drives almost every decision I make, whether it's putting $1,000 on black on stream or spending $550 on a meal. The question is it hype? And I thought, as an experience, a 2 Michelin star restaurant for $550 and 13 meals would be pretty hype. And I figured I could make up for it with a few Prime subs in a few months that I don't pay taxes for. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to run it. And the waiter leaves because Cutie doesn't know what she wants. Because half the things, it's 13 courses, she doesn't like. She's a picky eater. I'm basically at a meal with like a 7-year-old who only likes pizza and pasta and tacos. And so like foie gras, and oyster and all this black truffle. I'm looking over and what's looking back is just Daniel fucking gaming. Hyper Dan's game. So I'm like, all right, it's all right. Don't feel pressured. You get what you want. I'll get the meal. I kind of want to do it, be hype. You get what you want. Call it a day. Waiter comes back, and I'm like, okay, I want the 13 course, and then Cutie's like, yeah, I want like the steak, and he looks at me and he says with the most serious face, I shit you not. He looks at us and he says, that's impossible. What do you mean impossible? You can just cook. It's definitely possible, right? You can definitely cook a meal. She can eat it, and I can eat a meal a little slower. We even talked about it beforehand. She was like, yeah, I kind of like watching people eat. I was like, that's fucking weird, but sure, that'd be hype. Let's run it, But he said that is impossible. Cannot be done. Like dividing by 0, there is no way. They don't have the technology to make a meal that is not 2 $550 meals. So now I have the decision. Do I just pick something from the left side, have a quicker meal where we're not rushed, and not spend well over $1,000? Or do I say, let's ride? So I'm sitting in the restaurant. I'm debating. I'm thinking. I'm not sure what to do. And so then I say to the waiter, look, this is kind of a tough decision. But boys, let's leave it to chance. Heads or tails? Call it in the air. And he said, I'm not going to fucking do that. This is a 2 Michelin star restaurant, you idiot. Just pick what you want to do. It's your money. What do you think? You're going to tip me bad if it's bad too. Just pick the thing. God, you're being so weird. So I just decided to go with both. I said, fuck it. We're going to do both. I'm spending $1,100 just on the meals. The onslaught of courses. 13 in total. And it starts first with an oyster. And bear in mind, as I said, Cutie didn't like half the stuff on this menu. So I was eating her food. Usually I wouldn't mind. Okay, but 13 courses, I ended up eating like 20. So I ate her oysters, all right? Slurped them up. It was just the oyster. That was it. Just an oyster on a plate. And that was a course. And I was like, all right, manageable. 2 oysters. Enjoyable. And they're going a little bit quick. So every few minutes, a guy would come. And this happened, I'm not shitting you. Every time they would put down a plate and I would eat it and they would pick it back up, a guy would come with like this specially designed flat comb to sweep the table, clean it off. And then the water guy would come and he'd be like, which water do you want? The options were like Perrier or Bardoit, which I've never heard of before, but I assume is like $18 a bottle. The bread guy would come. The butter guy would come. The wine guy. I would have like a meeting. I felt like the CEO of a company having to talk to the head of every office. The second, this one is a gold-topped caviar foie gras with balls of I don't know what the fuck. I could not tell you what was in this dish, but I can tell you that I ate 2 of them as well. And then I ate this thing. I don't know what this was. They came at me with what I assume was like a recreation of the spaceship that Stitch fell out of in Lilo and Stitch. And it had like dried ice underneath it and it would smoke. It was actually filthy to look at. Then they had this. And this, I'm not going to say this was the start of the end, but this is where I was like, I'm not going to do this again. This is black truffle, if you don't know. This was a salad. But the salad was just like black truffle, olive oil, salt, and arugula. Here's a little secret about black truffle. Black truffle is $95 an ounce. An ounce. That is very, very small. There are a few ounces on both of our plates. So we had a few $100s of truffle. And here's the second secret about truffle. They don't taste good. It tastes not that great. Doesn't taste bad, but like it tastes like the best thing you would find on, what's that show? Naked and Afraid. It'd be like that level of food. It's not that good. It's overpriced because it's rare. So this was our first dish with black truffle. And at first I was like, okay, yeah, black truffle. Who doesn't like a little bit of black truffle? And then they're like, okay, here's the soup. Oh, it's a black truffle soup. Okay. Sure, yeah, black truffle soup is fine. And then they're like, hey, do you want some cheese? Cheese would be delicious. Well, your cheese comes with a black truffle. Why? Why does it come with black? It doesn't need to. It really doesn't need to come with black truffle. I think 4 of the 13 dishes, about a third of the dishes, had black truffle on them, which is way too many dishes to have black truffle. And they kept coming out with entree after entree. They had fish. This was like the fish with the olives. They had this lobster. That was like the second best meal. They had this, I don't know what the hell it was. It was like this peach dessert thing. And then the best dish of all was the beef. I think it was Wagyu steak. I mean, don't get me wrong. It did come with black truffle, as you can see. But that beef is the one food that costs a lot of money, actually worth it. If you ever got $300 burning a hole in your wallet and you want to get a Wagyu steak, I would run it. That beef is true yummy. It's pronounced Wagyu. I don't think it is. I think you're actually super wrong. It's pronounced Wagyu. I'm 97% sure. How to pronounce Wagyu?
Wagyu. Wagyu.
Did she say Wagyu or Wagyu?
Wagyu.
It's still too hard to tell.
Wagyu, Japanese. Wagyu.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever find out.
Wagyu.
I just feel like it's not enough of a consensus to really know for sure. All right. The one thing I can say was worth it, and the best meal they had was the Wagyu beef. And the entire experience was kind of cool. All in all, had a couple glasses of champagne. I had like 19 courses because Cutie didn't eat 6 of hers. So 13 of mine, 6 of hers, 19 courses, 2 glasses of champagne, free bread, free butter, and the final bill came. It was $1,250. I'm like, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Take out my wallet. And I'd spent a lot of money because I had bought in the Airbnb for everyone, and I'd bought my flight on the card, paid for rent on the card. And this is a funny moment. Cutie looks at me, and I look at her, and I'm like, that might fail. And she was like, I would hate if that failed. But I was like, don't worry about it. And then the card got declined. So what happens is sometimes you spend too much money. Your bank's like, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. That might be fraud. Because I spent $1,000 at a restaurant. The funny thing is, I literally pulled out $1,000 on the same exact card the day before in the same exact area in Las Vegas, and they didn't say a fucking word. The reason they didn't say a word is because I did it for gambling. If they see, casino, okay, that's good. If they see restaurant, what? This guy has eaten Chipotle every day for the past 17 months. I think we got a problem here, Dave. Seems he's spending money on food. Yeah, no, it's not Amazon. No, it's not Amazon. It's not. No, it's not on a giant box of diapers. It is so strange for him. So I clear it. I pay for it. I tip $250, 20%. All right, like a good, honest American. A $1,500 meal. And I thought for the rest of the night, was it worth it? Was it worth spending $1,500 on one meal? I felt a bit guilty because that could literally feed hundreds of people, if not 1,000. Is the experience once in a lifetime worth it, even though it's such a disgusting use of money? And then the answer came to me when I woke up. Because I woke up, I went to the bathroom, and for the next 3 days, I got food poisoning at a 2 Michelin star restaurant after spending $1,500. Are you kidding me? It lasted 3 days. I had like a temperature. I took so much medicine. I couldn't eat anything. I threw up. So the moral of the story, if you take anything away, all right, there's 3 lessons. 1, black truffles suck. 2, Wagyu beef, pretty good. 2B, it's pronounced Wagyu. And 3, if you ever decide to spend $1,500 on a dinner, make sure that Cutie Cinderella eats all her fucking courses, because that asshole did not get a lick of what I had. She didn't get food poisoning at all. I ate double dose food poisoning. That was my experience at Vegas. Don't know if I'd do it again. I don't think I would. I felt an unusual guilt. I don't even feel that guilty doing an Amazon stream, but spending it all on food for myself felt wrong. And the gods smited me so. Sue them. If Gwyneth Paltrow can get away with selling eggs that you put in your vagina to make you stop pissing, Guy Savoy can get away with poisoning his food. That's just America, boys.